Unfiltered, the official Sunderland AFC podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to SAFC Unfiltered, sponsored by Alpha Security. Myself and Danny are back at the Academy of Light, speaking to one of the standout players from this season, and he's enjoyed a very busy and brilliant season. Jack Clarke, Danny.
Yeah, no, he has, you're right. I think he's been fantastic, hasn't he? Pretty much an ever-present as well. Come in last season on loan and then obviously become a permanent signing. But no, he's been fantastic. His energy shows, the way he carries the ball up the pitch, assists, goals. He's ticked a lot of boxes this season, so it's been a fantastic season for himself and for the side.
It's going to be great to hear from him how he thinks his game has changed since that loan spell.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an important player last season, got some important assists and important goals, but this season, you know, he's really stepped up. He has previously had spells in the Championship, hasn't he, in his career?
Yeah.
But this is by far and away his longest spell in, you know, a consistent spell in a football side, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think he's over 60 games for the club now, 44 starts, I think, this season, and just grows in confidence, playing regular football. I think it's what you want as a player. We'll obviously speak to him about it, but just finding a home, really. I think he had that big money move to Tottenham, didn't work out, didn't get any opportunities, had a few loan moves, games here and there, and then he's come to Sunderland now, where he can call his home, a permanent signing. And I think it showed, really. There's one or two others as well. I think Patrick Roberts, similar. And no, fantastic players to watch on their day when they're at it. They go past fullbacks like they're not there. And he's produced the goods.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to sit down with Jack. We'll go through and speak to him now. Welcome to SAFC Unfiltered. Jack Clarke. Jack, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. What a season. We're not quite at the end yet, but have you had time to reflect on what's been probably your busiest season in football?
Nah, not as of yet. No, like I said, we're still working. Obviously, we've got the one big game on Monday, and then depending on how that goes, depends on the summer, and then I'll have a bit of time to reflect with the family and whatever else, and discuss how things went. Hopefully.
You know, when you were in the playoffs last season, did you ever think that you could possibly be in the playoffs again, but in the Championship?
Probably not at that time, no, but as things have developed throughout this season and we've obviously established ourselves against good teams within this league, we've not felt out of place against anybody. So once you start picking up points and building a bit of momentum, you sort of think that anything's possible, and we've not ruled it out all season. We had the goal at the start of the season, but we didn't know how close to it would be, obviously, and now things are getting closer and closer. It just makes you want it that little bit more.
Yeah, it's quite tangible, isn't it, Danny? It's quite close, and it's going to the last game.
Yeah, it is still to play for, and I think at the start of the season, myself, everyone, a lot of Sunderland fans would have said stay up this season and build from there. But we've hit the ground running. I think you look at the other two teams that come up with us. Rotherham struggling at the wrong end, and Wigan, who have been relegated already. The lads have continued from where they left off. Obviously, a big part of the squad still here, and just played with freedom and confidence. I think a lot of young boys finding their feet in the game at any level, really, but they've taken to it. Football's been excellent to watch. This man here getting on the ball, driving us forward, involved in a lot of the goals. It's been a fantastic season so far, but a big 90 minutes to come on Monday.
What comes with the consistency in games for you, Jack? I know you've played most games this season, but does your physical game improve as well as your mental side of the game, your belief in yourself? Does that come with consistency as well?
I think any time, for any player, the more that you're playing, the more confidence you have, the more rhythm you feel like you've got when you're playing, and you can just try things and things will work because you've just got that the confidence in yourself because you're playing week in, week out, and then when things are coming off for you, you probably try a little bit more, and then you've just got to know when to what's working, what's not working, and then just stick to what's working to help the team. But obviously playing games always helps with that. No one likes coming in and out the team or playing once every 10 games. It's tough to get into like I said, your rhythm of playing football, because the game, you can train all week but nothing replicates a game.
I think you look at that both sides as well, because you've played a lot of games this season. We just said there you've only missed the one game this season, So sometimes you can think, oh, is he going to be burnt out coming to this stage of the season? But I think I agree with you. You look at it the other way, and I always felt the same as you, where you want to play week in, week out. You're out there, you train all week, don't you? And what do you look forward to as a player? It's that 90 minutes on a Saturday or midweek, isn't it?
It's always the game. Like I said, you can't really. Obviously, we train throughout the week and stuff, and prepare for whoever we're playing, but you can't replicate like playing the game and the feeling when the fans are there and not knowing how they're going to set up against you and not knowing like who's going to score, if you're going to score, what's going to work, and you don't know how the state of the game's going to go, so you just can't replicate it. But I think you always try to get yourself in the best possible state physically and mentally for the game, and if that means like not dropping out of training or sacking training off, but if you take it like
just saving a little bit in the tank in a way, really.
Always try to reserve a bit for the end of the week, knowing that the game's coming.
Yeah.
Do you think you're playing the best football you've ever played at the moment? Or do you think you can kick on more as well?
I'd always like to think I've got more to offer, like in terms of goals, assists, and everything else. Like I've still missed a few chances this year. I'm not quite happy with, but I think you can always progress as a footballer, and I don't want to limit myself too much to how much I can go and offer further down the line.
You have scored some brilliant goals though, and got lots of assists as well. Which ones are sticking in your mind as you think back?
It's always, the goal that always comes to mind is a Reading goal. But
that was a huge team goal, wasn't it?
But I possibly played the smallest part in that goal, but I get all the credit for it, thankfully.
Thinking about that goal, Jack, when it came to that goal, were you thinking, just don't mess this up, because this has been a brilliant move to this point, just don't mess it up?
You don't realise how good of a goal it is whilst you're in the moment playing.
Right, okay.
Because I'm not there counting the passes or seeing what other people are doing. I'm just trying to get myself on the end of it. But we've had a lot like that. Like the other week, the goal at Hull as well. That was a nice team move, but you're not. I don't know, when you're playing, you're only sort of you're in the mind frame of you're not noticing what's going on. Like after a game, you probably don't know half the things you've actually done within the game. So that one always comes to mind. But
I think we discussed this after the game at the weekend, how it wasn't up for goal of the season. The lad from Watford won it, actually Sardin. He scored from the halfway line. I looked it up after we discussed it. It wasn't even in the contenders.
Why is that done?
The only thing, as Jack says there, it's not an individual goal as such. I mean, Jack, listen, he's chopped inside the defender and tucked it well, nice. But as a team goal, for me, it should have won it. Sars scored from the halfway line. He's caught the keeper. I get that, but from the way we've passed it out from the back, we've worked it well down the right hand side. A few flicks in there, everything's come off, and Jack's there for the icing on the cake, really. So whether I'm being a little bit biased, I'm not sure, but I think that should have won the goal of the season.
Do you think it should have won?
I think it should have been nominated based on how much credit it received, and you don't see, especially at, I'm not going to say our level, but in this league you don't see many teams playing that sort of football in the Premier League. If it's a
Man City or something,
if it's a City or whatever, you can say oh, fair enough, but
yeah, you got a good one in the FA Cup as well yourself, cutting inside. You've done that a couple of times this season. Do you feel like when you're going out to play, defenders are wary of that in their mind, because you can go both ways, which you showed in your time here at Sunderland?
I think it's always a bit of we prepare on a certain team, so you expect the team you're playing against to prepare on you, and players you're playing against, you sort of once you've played against them a couple of times or whatever, you remember the name, and you can sort of think oh, he's not great at this, great at that, or I know I'm going to be quicker than him today, so I can go down the line a bit more or whatever else. Things like that you sort of remember, but I think once you're out there, you just get a feel of the space on the pitch, what's going to be working, what's not. If they're trying to double up on you, then sometimes maybe you have to try something different. I think you just adapt as the game's going. It's a bit of cat and mouse, what's he good at, what am I good at, trying to play on his weaknesses a bit more than playing on mine.
Do you enjoy the battle? I can tell you enjoy the battle, because when you came in, I wasn't looking at your legs or anything, but your legs are actually covered in scratches and bruises. Do you feel like you're coming off the pitch most weeks you've been in a real tussle?
Yeah, it's always a tough game, especially in this league. I don't think you get some of the decisions you get in the Premier League, especially, and teams definitely do the research. And when you're in a good run of form, like we have been, and some of the players there have been, there's teams that I've come up against where there'd be 2-3 men trying to come out there and stop you, and then it's frustrating because you feel like it's sort of limiting your game, but then somebody else is going to be free elsewhere, and we've probably scored a lot of goals off that this season.
Jack, just going back to the point there, obviously you playing on the left-hand side, predominantly right-footed, and then you have Patrick or Ahmad over on the far side, left-footed, wanting to come in. I think looking at last season, a lot of the time, you didn't perhaps go on the outside as much. Is that something you looked at in the summer? Maybe more just puts that doubt in the fullback's head, doesn't it? When you go past them on the outside and you're on that left foot, and then sometimes they overcompensate and it gives you that space to work inside. Then
I think you just like. I'm always more confident coming in on my right foot because obviously I'm a right-footed player. But I think once you go down the line, even if something like you try something and it doesn't come off, or whatever else, it just puts that doubt in the defender's mind, like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. But I think when we've got very attacking fullbacks in like Gucci, Dennis and Niall when he's been fit, and Adji and stuff like that. So when you've come inside, they've always been willing to get round. So it sort of gives that balance of, if I come inside, there's going to be somebody doubling up here, or if I go down the line, they can go inside. So it's like trying to do the polar opposite of what the fullback behind you is going to be doing at the same time. But I think it's something I've added to my game. Doesn't always come off.
No, it's just putting in that swing of the lefty, just feeding it across, and
it's just trying to do different things to make it harder for the opposition.
Another aspect of your game, which I think fans will agree has come on over your time here at Sunderland, is that of your defensive capabilities. But it must be hard considering the injuries this season. You've quite often got someone else behind you. How important is that relationship on the left-hand side?
It's been difficult at times because obviously there's been a lot of injuries. Like Dennis has missed a lot of games, Adji's missed a lot of games. And Knight, I think I've played with 5, 6 different people playing at left back behind me. I've played wing back myself as well, so it's been difficult to build like a proper relationship with someone playing there. But you've just got we train all week with each other and stuff like that, so you've got to just understand what the player behind you wants to do as well. Like if I'm playing with Dennis, I know he wants to get around me all day, whereas if I'm playing with Adji, he might just support from behind. So you've got to know what they're wanting to do behind you, which makes it easier for them at the same time. But sometimes it'd be nice to just go play 46 games with like the same person all the time, so you know exactly what's going on.
We've been a bit unlucky with injuries this season, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely, especially like for big players as well. Like I think Roscoe's only played like 10, 11 games this season, and Skip's been out since January, Embo's been out since December. Even when we had Ellis here, he missed a lot of games for injury. So I think just...
Now the 2 centre-halves as well.
Yeah, the 2 centre-halves as well. We've missed them, especially Ballard, who probably hadn't had the season he wanted to coming in the summer or whatever else. But when they have played, they've all been brilliant. But I think just the fact that we've still got the chance to go get playoffs with how unfortunate we've been in certain areas is credit to the squad and credit to the club.
You've played under some quite famous managers in your time in football, Jack. Bielsa, Mourinho, Pochettino. How does Tony Mowbray stack up against those greats?
Look, every time you play for a different manager, you bring something different to your game, and you still remember little bits and bobs. But like the gaffer here now currently, I've loved playing under him, and I'm sure everybody else has. He got brought in because he was good with young players, and you can see that with like how young our squad is and how well we've done. And
that's well documented. But how does he get that across then, day to day? What is he saying to those young players, yourself included?
I think he doesn't actually say as much as what you'd probably think. I think that's part and parcel of it. He lets people just go out there and express themselves, and when you've got that freedom to go out and play and you're confident and you feel like everything's working, it makes you feel better, it makes you play better, and it just reflects better on him. And I think that's how he's tried to come across this season, and it's definitely worked.
And he gives young players a chance, doesn't he, Danny? How important is that for a young player? You remember yourself when you broke through into professional football, just someone to have the faith in keeping you in the side, even if you've made a mistake.
That's the key, isn't it? Yeah, because it's easy, obviously, to bring younger lads out. I mean, we spoke to Trey last week on the podcast, didn't we? And Trey last season, he'd come in, perhaps we didn't get the results, we had a change of manager, and then he was coming back out of the team, and it kills the confidence of younger lads. But as you say, this season, we've got a young squad anyway. We've lost a lot of the experience. Corey's out. Obviously Ross at the top end of the pitch. You've lost the spine at this moment in time. But yeah, we've had to rely on young lads. So I said it earlier on there, they've been given the opportunity, and the majority of the boys have taken it so far this season. And it's obviously going to build their confidence going forward. A full season at the championship level, we're not sure what's going to happen yet if we get to the playoffs, but building for next season. They know what the championship's all about. They know what the stadium light's all about. 40,000 fans in there. So it's going to build their confidence moving forward. Yeah,
it's a good squad of young players, isn't it, Jack? And, you're part of that attacking, numbers of players which have got a lot of attention, not just from Sunderland fans, but nationally because of how young, how hungry you are. Do you feel like you've got points to prove because you're young and, Tony Mowbray has given you a license to just go out every week and do this?
As a squad, I don't think we think about it too much because that's just the situation we're in. We can't help how old we are, and we can't help that our more experienced lads have gone and got like long-term injuries. You just got to go out and get the job done, to be honest. If it doesn't really matter if you've got a 19-year-old or a 28-year-old in the team, they're still going to try to do the same thing for you. And sometimes it's nice to have that experience to rely on, but we haven't really had that opportunity at any point this season to be able to rely on experience. So we've had to go out there and just play. And sometimes we've been a bit naive in certain games and probably been caught out at the wrong moments and stuff like that. But like I said, everybody who's putting on a shirt before the game's trying the best, so that's all you can ask.
Jack, going to just take it back. Obviously, we're speaking about young lads getting an opportunity and looking at yourself back at Leeds. I think you come into the team 17, 18, and then you got that big move to Spurs. Didn't obviously get too many opportunities at Spurs. Went on a few loans, similar to Patrick in a way, trying to find your feet, trying to get a run of games. And then you came here last season on loan, again similar to Patrick. Do you feel now that this feels like home again? Feels like a club? I know you've obviously ticked off a lot of games this season, but it's just finding that regular football, isn't it?
I think that's what it's all about. It's just finding a place to belong. And I think for me and a lot of the other lads, we've found a place where we belong. It's always tough, like moving to a bigger club and then just going out here, there, everywhere, and not having a sense of belonging. And no matter how, like Pat would probably tell you the same. When you go out on loan, it's like you go out on loan, no matter how well you do, you sort of feel like you're going back there in the same situation you were in before. And
kept an eye on things as well, like, get the opportunity when you go back.
They've always got the opportunity to go sign a bigger player with a bigger reputation rather than giving a young lad an opportunity, and that's just the way football is, I guess. But it was a tough spell, like going out on loan here, there, and everywhere, and not just having a place where you feel like you actually belonged because you knew you were going back at some point. Where here, for me and probably for Pat as well, we've found a place that hopefully we can stay at for a long time.
That must help mentally as well, just to be so focused and targeted on the job in hand, and that's just doing well for Sunderland. Yeah,
like you've got this, even the little things like coming into the building every single day and seeing the same face and stuff like that, you don't realise how much that just helps you settle in and
not living out of a bag as well.
Just have
exactly,
that sense of comfort. Like you've not got people from outside that you're trying to keep in touch with that are checking up on you and seeing how things are doing. You can just focus on you and your football, and if things are going right on the pitch, then usually things are going right off the pitch as well. So definitely since coming here, I've found that and I've really enjoyed it. Because
when you joined Sunderland, obviously we were in League One. Sunderland's always been a huge club within English football, but you must have been thinking, I'm going to be leaving Spurs here for a League One side. Did you think, right, this is my chance to really, get a hold of my career again? Or was there a little bit of, were you a little bit kind of thinking, I can't believe I'm going to League One? I've never really, in my mind, never portrayed Sunderland as a League One club anyway. When I was growing up as a kid, they were always massive club, Premier League, and I used to come, when I was in the academy at Leeds, we'd come up here and play all the time as well, so I knew the infrastructure in and around the club. But the fact of League One, I'd never played in League One, and as a player, it's easy to get stuck at a level, and I didn't really want to do that, but I knew where Sunderland was at the time. If I could play a part in getting them out of that league and back to where we are now, then not that you've got a place for life, but that it's another door opening and an opportunity that I'd really want to take. Yeah.
Good day, wasn't it, down at Wembley? Enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. I probably enjoyed it more if I got to start, but I still loved every minute of it. It was one of the best days I've had in football, so I won't change it.
What do you do away from football, Jack? Or have you got any hobbies, sports, or anything like that?
Not so much through the season, because obviously we've got especially in the Championship, you've got a very busy schedule, and your days off you sort of just want to spend doing nothing.
Yeah, literally nothing. Or do you play video games or movies?
I'll play the PlayStation from time to time, just to, if I'm in the house, or I try to play a bit of golf, but I'll only play if the sun's out, sort of thing. I'm not gonna.
Fair weather, mate.
I'm a fair weather golfer, definitely. There's a good group of us here that try to get out and play. But other than that, not too much. Just video games, golf, and then
Music?
focus on football.
Into music? Anything like that? Going to gigs? Never gone
No, not really.
No?
In the car, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
What kind of music do you like?
A bit of anything. I think it depends on what I'm feeling like on the day. The stuff I listen to in the morning will definitely be different to what I listen to when I'm going home.
Who's in charge of the changing
day.
room match day playlist at the moment in the dressing room?
That'd be me, yeah.
You?
Oh, she's
Yeah.
taking control. Yeah.
What are you going to have to do
Well,
is
when
playlist.
when I first came in, there was like Chief, so the kit man had an iPad, and then he'd just like let people add songs and shuffle and stuff like that. But I didn't really like it. So
What
then-
was on there? What
just
you
a bit
didn't like?
of it, just a bit of everything. Because obviously you've got like, obviously now we've got a lot of, like the French boys and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
last year we had maybe like Leon Arby and Hoff and stuff like that who'd go and add like songs, but then they always put their own headphones in anyway,
Right.
and like try to get themselves ready for the game. So they'd add songs
Oh,
to
man.
just listen to their own songs anyway. So then I basically, before, I can't remember what game it was, but Chief must have forgot the iPad or couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi or something.
You became the DJ.
So then I
Stepped up.
gave him my phone, played whatever I usually listen to, and then I think we won that game, and then from there we went on like, I think it was Wigan away, and then we went on like that run of like 16 games, so nobody had
Can't
let me
change
like,
the DJ then, can you?
Can't change.
people with superstitions and stuff like that, they wouldn't let me change it.
Really?
So then obviously we ended up getting promoted, not due to my music obviously, but went on that good run, got promoted or whatever, and then since then it's just been me.
So what's the track when you've just won, big game, and you come in the dressing room? What's the track you all bang on then?
There's not a specific one really.
Okay.
Like I said, it depends. I'll just go onto my phone and whatever I want to listen to personally, I'll
And you
just
just
put on,
blast it,
and
yeah.
then it's sometimes it goes down well, sometimes it don't. But I don't think I'm allowed to give up that role now.
All right. When you first joined the club as well, Jack, you said that you always have some Weetabix before you go out and play. Are you still on the Weetabix?
Yeah, I'll still have the same thing, regardless of what time kickoff is. That'll always be my meal before I go out. I don't know why.
Has the guys from Weetabix been in touch with some kind of
Sad-
endorsement yet?
Sadly not.
Maybe
no.
we can make this happen through this podcast.
Hopefully, because the other week actually I had to go there was no Weetabix in my shop, so I had to go get wheat bisques.
Oh, from like a
Yeah.
Sainsbury's own brand or
Snides.
something.
Yeah, like rip off Weetabix, and I didn't.
What about the banana Weetabix? Yeah? Have you not tried
Nah,
that yet?
I just stick
enough
to the
yet? Oh, it's nice,
classics.
the banana Weetabix, yeah.
I stick to the classics, and then I had to get wheat bisques, like I said, and I just didn't feel as confident going into that game.
And is it 2 Weetabix or 3?
I'll have two, just
Two.
two. I don't like to feel too heavy before I'm playing
And
either, so
what
two.
What kind of milk? Oat milk?
Oat
Yeah.
milk, yeah, and then
Honey?
a drizzle of honey on top.
Nice.
See, because you get a lot of lads who'll go the chicken pasta, the full hog, won't you? And then the game
I've
last
seen-
week was at the 12:30 kickoff or 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Chicken pasta for breakfast.
Yeah, it's
Everyone eats different things, to be
Yeah.
fair. I just don't like personally. I don't like feeling
Yeah, I
too
was the
heavy
same,
when
to
I'm
be
going
fair,
out.
yeah.
I'd rather.
Does anyone eat anything particularly weird before the game?
There's a lot of people who eat like stuff that I'd never touch.
Like what?
To be honest, like
Sweets and stuff like that? Or?
there's always like Haribos and stuff in the dressing room, but I don't think
The gaffer likes a sweet, doesn't he?
he's more of a chocolate man. To be
Yeah.
honest, he's always got his hand in something. But yeah, I think like you just get to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and I've just found that Weetabix always
Does the job.
works for me. Yeah, so
What
I'll
about
just
for
stick to that.
What about for a treat? I think it was Jack Grealish who recently came out and said he loves at the end of every game he has a Chinese. Are you into anything like that?
Like straight after a game, I can never actually eat
Yeah.
because I've probably not eaten before the game. My belly always feels like it's doing backflips afterwards. But I usually just try to get a can of Coke. I just love a Coke, yeah.
Full
Or like
fat.
yeah,
Full fat
or I'll
strain.
go to the closest McDonald's and get a
Oh, yeah.
Coke from McDonald's because I feel like theirs is
Nice.
better for some reason.
after a couple of gigs here, isn't it? Yeah.
Right then, Danny, I think it's time for your quiz.
Yeah.
Just a reminder to listeners, this is Danny's quiz he does with all the footballers or coaching staff who come on SAFC Unfiltered. The best performing person is Lyndon Gooch, who got 5 out of 5. Worst performing
Yeah,
person,
who's the worst?
Christian Speakman, 0.
That's fine. As long as I can beat. As long
Somewhere
as I
in
can,
between there, you're happy, yeah?
anything more than 0, I think I'll be quite happy with myself.
Was there
today.
any footballers who got a particularly bad time? I can't remember. They're normally all right.
Usually 2 or 3 out
Yeah,
there, middle of the road.
two or three the average.
Trey got
That's
2
fine.
last week.
I'll
Yeah.
fit in with the average today.
Yeah,
All right, then.
take that. Yeah, so mixed bag, Jack. Different categories, but the first question, 5 questions. First one is, who is the highest scoring non-Englishman in the Premier League with 184 goals? He's the 5th on the list, and there's 4 Englishmen above him.
Thierry Henry.
Sergio Aguero.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. There we go.
Yeah.
Would you have got that?
I wouldn't have got that.
It's alright then.
Question number 2, US states, like a US states one, don't I? So, which US state only uses 3 letters in its name?
What do you mean?
So it only uses 3 different letters in its name.
So it could be like 20 letters long, but it's only got 3 letters.
It's a smallish one, but it only uses 3 letters in its name. Little clue: it starts and ends with the same letter.
I think I've worked it out. And I'm normally not very good at this.
On these American ones,
Yeah.
states.
Oh, that's got 4 in.
You did one last week, didn't you?
It's only got 3 letters. Nah, I'm not going to get this. I've got one in my head and it's got 4 letters in.
Oh, I think I'm wrong, actually.
Oh, have you gone?
Yeah, I think I've got the same as him.
Did you have Alabama?
No. I was going to go Utah, but that's wrong.
No, that's 4 different
There's 4
letters.
different ones. Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
You were right when it starts and ends with the same letter as well.
Hey, you're going to America in the summer?
I
Looking forward to
know.
that.
I don't actually, with America, I don't actually know the difference between the states and the actual places.
Right,
that was
tell
my
me
problem.
Capital
Well, you're going to
cities and
find
stuff.
out in the summer.
Yeah, there you go. Homework for you.
Gucci would have probably got that though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, being
Yeah.
American and all, yeah. Does he go on about that quite a lot?
Sometimes he likes to throw it in from time to time just to let people know.
Right, test your brain on this one. Little maths one, adding up. Right, so what is the total sum of a maximum in snooker, holes on a golf course, players on a basketball team that's on the court, and Ross Stewart's squad number?
So it's 147. Add 18 is 157, 165. Roscoe wears number 14, so it'd be 179. And then what was the middle bit?
Players on a basketball team on the court at the time, not the subs.
So it'd be 10. It's 5 on each team, isn't there? So 189.
I'm going to give it you because you've gone right, but just on one team, not on both teams on the court.
Oh, so just 5, so
Yeah.
it'd be 184.
184 is correct.
Yeah, I'd give him that. Yeah, well done,
184,
Jack.
yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
He didn't specify,
He
did he? He
didn't,
said
no, I thought
number
it was-
of basketballers
yeah.
on the court.
On
It's a bit vague
on
there.
a basketball team, yeah. Okay.
Give him the point,
okay.
Danny,
Do you know what
please.
though? Good maths.
Good
Shot
maths.
there, yeah.
Good knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Good sports knowledge.
Question number 4, movies.
Yeah, I do like a movie, but it
Right.
depends. I've got...
I might have seen this.
What do you mean it depends?
It depends how, like, on the movie, whether I've seen it
Oh,
or
right,
not.
okay.
Yeah. I
Have
think
you got
you
a
might
particular
have
kind of movie you like? Do you like scary things?
Nah, don't watch horrors.
Did you do that horror thing they did on the video?
Nah, I didn't go.
I couldn't do that.
I've
but I
done
want-
one of them before.
I don't like horrors. I don't see the enjoyment in getting scared.
Right. Peter Mitchell is the lead character in which hit movie franchise? Peter Mitchell.
Sounds like he's off EastEnders.
There's- well, one of these. There's 2 films. I'm going to give you a clue. 2 films. The original was 1986, and then they made the follow-up last year.
So they made a sequel last year.
Yeah.
That came out in 86.
I'm not going to get it right, but is it Top Gun?
It is Top Gun.
What?
Peter Mitchell is
He is... Oh, Maverick!
No, Maverick.
Maverick.
I thought it was Tom Cruise.
no, but Peter Mitchell's the character in it. That's his name in it. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah, Top Gun.
He's got it right there.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, you got the right.
How's he
film, so,
doing? Was that
Yeah.
3 out of
1, 2. No, he didn't get Aguero.
Oh.
He didn't get. He's on 2. He's on 2 out of 4.
I'm going for the average.
Yeah, this is good.
Question number 5, last one. Which famous graffiti artist comes from Bristol?
Banksy.
Banksy.
Got it.
There we
Easy.
go.
That was
Quite
quite
easy.
easy. Well done.
3 out
Average.
of 5.
I thought it was Manchester, but it's the only
Yeah,
one I could think
Bristol.
of.
Yeah.
I'll take that. 3 out of 5.
Not bad
3
there.
better than
Yeah.
Speak Them, and he's got a degree and whatever else. So
Yeah, well done. Nice one. Okay, then. Huge game on Monday. Final game of the season as it stands, Jack. How are you and the lads preparing for Monday?
it's been a bit of a longer week than what we're used to building into a game, because obviously we last played on Saturday, and with the King's coronation and everything, it's been on the Monday in it, so it's a bit of a longer week. So we've got longer to prepare for this one, which is probably a good thing. And we're just taking it in the same way we take every other game. It's still going to be a game of football at the end of the day, and then we still need a couple of other teams to do us a favour, which we're hoping for, and then if we get the right result, which obviously we're all planning on getting, we'll just have to see at the end of the game.
Yeah, will it be a case of checking the phones at half-time, that kind of thing?
No, I don't think so, because sometimes you can take that the wrong way if a certain team's losing, and
I think you
we
gauge off the fans, don't you? They'll
we
have the
feel like
earpieces in and-
maybe losing or we only need a draw or whatever, we take our foot off the gas and then...
Well, there's 6,000 fans going to be down there behind the goal, so they'll let you know,
I think he'll get an inkling as the game's going on, like how we're doing and what's going on and stuff like that. But I don't think, as for myself, I personally won't be checking. I'd rather get our job done and hopefully at the end of the game, it's enough.
A word on those fans. 6,000 taken down to Deepdale on Monday. It was pretty much a sellout as well at the weekend. What's it been like playing in front of them this season, home and away? It's
been unbelievable. The fan base is definitely one of the standout things about coming to play for Sunderland. They're so loyal. Even in League One last year, we were selling out games and stuff like that. And you'd think, probably for a lot of them, what they've been used to going to watch Sunderland playing away at United at Old Trafford and stuff like that, going to Morecambe away on the last day of the season is probably not anything near that. But again, they still sell out everywhere they go, and that's credit to them and it's a credit to the club. And I think hopefully they've enjoyed watching us this season and we can get it done for them.
I'm sure they have. Thanks very much, Jack
Cheers,
Clarke.
Jack.
Cheers.
All the best. Thanks.
Jack Clarke speaking to us here on SAFC Unfiltered. Lovely to catch up with Jack. He's been present for a while in and around matchday, obviously, and it's nice. I think that's the first time we properly had a chance to sit down with Jack in his time at Sunderland, and it sounds like he's found a home in Sunderland. He's thoroughly enjoying his football, and he believes he can get better as well. Yeah,
well, he can. He's only 22 as well, and I think you see how his games come on over the season. I've said it before there, he's ticking a lot of boxes. As an out-and-out winger, really, he likes to come inside. He's got assists, he's got goals this season, but his work rate as well, you mentioned it to him there. I go back to the Norwich game away, games away from home, maybe where we don't have as much as the ball, but his work rate going back towards our goal, which you don't really associate too much with wingers, really. They like to run the other way, but he's been fantastic. A contender for player of the season, of course, and obviously Danny Bart picked it up recently, but there's several players that could have picked up the award. But Jack, he's been fantastic and he can only get better.
So we go into the final game of the season with Sunderland still a chance, Danny, of achieving a place in the playoffs. An incredible season, considering where Sunderland have came from last season. But it's very much still on. We need results to go our way, but there's a good possibility it could happen.
Yeah, of course they can. Yeah, I think we've said it. If you'd have said this at the start of the season, going into the last game, 90 minutes from making the playoffs, you'd have snapped people's hands off, and that's where we're at. Disappointment last weekend against Watford, of course, not picking up the 3 points, but a lot of results have gone for us as well. We need to rely on maybe Middlesbrough, and obviously the Blackburn-Millwall game we'll be keeping an eye on, but we've got to do our job, go and get the 3 points, and then you see how you come out of it. And if we don't creep into the playoffs, it's still been a great season.
Yeah, I think you saw that as well, didn't you, by the appreciation the fans showed on that lap the players did at the end of the previous home game as well. Yeah, I think fans around the world listening to this, and fans of Sunderland Football Club in the UK as well, will recognise the success it's been this season, the step up it's been, but all those players have stepped up as well in situations where injuries have heavily struck the side, haven't they? It's been a great season.
Well, yeah, and age of the squad as well, isn't it? We've said it there, and I'm speaking to Jack. We've lost a lot of the experienced boys. You can't, account for that really. Corey coming out, obviously we lost Danny Bart now, Ross Stewart. That spine of the team really. But the lads have got on with it. I always go back to Linden and Luke O'Nien, two players who constantly getting chopped and changed positions. Trey Hume as well recently. But the lads just get on with it. Especially away from home where. I think we're fourth in terms of picking up points on the road. Home form maybe it hasn't quite been what we would have wanted, but over the course of the season, to be in and around it where we are, it's a fantastic season, and the young boys are only going to grow from this learning experience.
Yeah, 6,000 Sunderland fans heading down to Deepdale. Myself and Danny will be on SAFC Live from around 2:30 on Monday. Join us for that and subscribe to us here on SAFC Unfiltered to be the first to hear future podcasts.